Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Chomping at the Bit. Now, this episode, I want to talk about the winter meetings, which just ended Wednesday night. Um, Mainly focusing on the Red Sox because, yes, that's the team I am a fan of and that I really pay attention to. I feel like it's been an interesting winter meeting period. They, Heim Bloom, Red Sox front office, they improved the bullpen, which was a big need coming into the offseason. They brought in Jensen, and we'll have to see how he looks. He had a couple of good years in Atlanta, but he definitely gives the team a legitimate closer, which definitely needed that. Signed with Chris Martin. There's like Jolie Rodriguez in the bullpen as well. So now I feel like the bullpen is solidified. We already know Whitlock's going to be a starter. But Hauk, I want to know what is his role now? Is he still going to be a setup man type? Is he now going to be a middle reliever? Could we see him transform into a starter? I don't know. Those are questions that I guess Alex Cora would have to answer. But two, needed a outfielder, which was a given because with um, Kike in center and then Verdugo at one of the corner outfields spots, needed another outfielder because on the depth chart was basically Jaron Duran, Russ Snyder, who they re-signed, who's a good like fourth outfielder. So they needed an outfielder. They went and got Yoshida from the Japanese league. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know a lot about him. I did look at some videos and all that about him, and from what I can see and what the analysis is about him is that he's a high on base percentage type of guy. Great, that's fine. I can live with that. They also say he has some power, probably like 20, 25 home runs. Fine again. They just needed production. Seems like this guy's a productive player. They got him for what, 5 years, 90 million with the posting fee. So like 5 years, 105, or 5 years, 90, $15 posting fee, $15 million posting fee, whatever. So, I mean, not bad. I'm interested to see what he looks like now, come spring training and early part of the season. So that's fine. Got those out of the way. Then I feel like most people, the third item to get through was Xander Bogaerts, who was a free agent, and it's been kind of tumultuous in terms of negotiations here at the end, where the Red Sox apparently lowballed him last offseason, played out the year, then seemed like was it Peter Gammons who said like severed ties and all that kind of stuff, but then turned around and was like, oh, they're in negotiations again. Well, it all ended last night when the news broke that Xander Bogaerts is going to the Padres, 11 years, 280 million. So I think today a lot of Red Sox fans are trying to process what to think about that, and it's definitely taken a lot of the momentum out of what Heim Bloom was doing based off the winter meetings. Because like I said, the moves I just named to you, you understood the purpose of them. They filled holes, and I think Bloom was having a great winter meeting period. But then the Bogarts deal hit, and now it seems like the moves that Bloom made before have kind of been negated by the fact that Bogarts is leaving. Now, Xander Bogaerts was probably unquestionably the leader of the Red Sox, especially once Ortiz left. It seemed like it was Bogarts' team to lead, and now he's gone. But then you look on the other side, it's like, I mean, 11 years, 280. That seems like a steep price. And for the Padres, I guess credit or however you want to paint it for the Padres, they went after Judge, didn't get him. I think they went after Trey Turner, didn't get him. So it was obvious that the Padres are going to give somebody a big contract, and I guess Xander Bogaerts is who was next in line. And on the surface, I feel like 11,280 is probably a vast overpay, especially if they said the Red Sox and Bogarts, or I guess Scott Boras, who's his agent, had like intensified negotiations. But then John Tomasi came out and said something like the Red Sox offered 6 and 160. So, so like, how does it go from 6 and 160 to 11 and 280? That doesn't really seem to make sense. So I don't know if the intensified negotiations was just the fact that they started talking again, and 6 and 160 must have been like the Red Sox initial offer, and they just didn't move off of it. And if that's the case, 6 and 160 seems, I mean, decent money. What is that like? One that's that like 27 million a year. It's not bad. Um, we may look back at this and see the Trey Turner 11 years 300 is probably the deal that kind of set this in motion, that probably made the Padres think they had to go to 11 and 280. I don't know, but grand scheme of things, can I, you know, blame Bogarts for moving on to San Diego? No, because 11 years versus 6 years, more security. No problem with that. But then looking at it, it's like he's 30 years old, paying him 11 years. Like, what does Bogarts look like at age 41? And the fact that they're paying him to be a shortstop, because all indications are that the Padres are going to move Tatis Jr. up to the outfield and put Bogarts as short. Although there's been questions the past few years as to, how long can Bogarts be a shortstop before he has to move to third or wherever else. And I mean, the Padres currently have Machado at third. So we'll have to see what the Padres' overall plan is for these moves, because they also have Juan Soto, I believe, who comes up next year. And are they going to just, shell out another 300 million or whatever? Well, I mean, with Soto, I don't know, because Soto turned down was like 425 from the Nationals. I can't see him doing that and then taking 300 from the Padres or 350 or something like that. So that's gonna be an interesting thing to see next season. But um, yeah, I mean, you can't blame Bogarts for doing it. I kind of can't blame the Red Sox if they didn't want to match 11 and 280, because I don't know if I would have done that. But I think what a lot of Red Sox fans are bringing up, which is a valid point, is that did it need to get to this point where Bogarts and his representation might have felt, disrespected based off of the offer from last season, and maybe because of that, no matter what the Red Sox offered, maybe Bogarts would never have come back. That's definitely a valid uh, explanation for all this. It's something that you probably really have to think about. But if that is the case, then what's going to be the ramifications amongst the players on the team right now? I guess mainly Devers, because he's the next big guy who you have to sign. So does Devers look at what happened to Bogarts and go, well, maybe I don't want to stay here? So he plays out the year and then decides to go elsewhere. Are the Red Sox setting the precedent now that, yeah, Devers probably isn't going to come back? And I guess we'll just have to deal with it. Or maybe it just came out to they kind of set a budget for the both of them. Bogarts became a little bit too much, so they moved on from him, and they're gonna, do what they can to sign Devers and go that extra mile with him. It'll be interesting to see, But with the Red Sox, I think they're gonna have to probably maybe overpay for Devers at this point to kind of get back in the good graces of Red Sox fans. 'Cause I'm sure there's a lot of Red Sox fans who, after the Bogarts move, might be done with them. And, you know, I think the Red Sox aren't careful. Boston's kind of been seen as a Red Sox town, I guess by traditionalists, purists, whatever. But, after being there for so long, and then, don't live there anymore, but I still follow all the teams, very clearly that, the Patriots took over. with this recent run, you could probably say the Celtics are probably taking over for the Red Sox. The Red Sox might be the third team in the town in terms of interest. And if the Red Sox aren't careful, because if you don't haven't been paying attention, the Bruins are really good this year. There's a good chance that by the time spring training starts, the Red Sox could be fourth on people's mind. And I don't think that's a place where Red Sox ownership and players and fans are comfortable being. Now, by then, the Patriots season, well, yeah, it'd be over by then. And depending on how the Patriots finish their season, the offseason could create a buzz based off of whatever. And they could still end up being behind the Patriots in terms of on people's mind and, sports talk radio and all that kind of stuff. But it looks like the Celtics are set for another deep run and great season. Bruins the same way. So, like I said, the Red Sox could be in like obscurity for the first few months of the season. And now I'm interested to see how that reflects in the stands in terms of attendance at games. That's going to be another interesting thing to look at early in the season. But I say all that to say, Bogarts had a great Red Sox career. Would he win a couple of rings? So, he did everything that he had to do in Boston. Wish him you know all the success out in San Diego. For Padres fans, with all these moves, San Diego better win a title probably this upcoming season, and maybe next season. Because if not, they would have spent a lot of money to kind of just be where they are right now. Where in that division, you think of them behind the Dodgers already, and in the grand scheme of the National League, probably behind the Dodgers, the Braves, um, maybe the Cardinals. Then you'd probably slot the Padres in there. So uh, I will pay somewhat of attention to the Padres to see how he does out there. But then to bring it back to the Red Sox real quick to finish out the episode, it's going to be looked at as what does Bloom do next, and what could Bloom do? Besides, like I said, extending Devers. Well, let's say that doesn't happen because it doesn't necessarily have to happen this offseason, although we would love to see it happen. But I don't think he goes after a shortstop like Correa or Swanson. He could, but when they brought on Trevor Story, it was kind of evident that Story was there because they probably had a good idea that Bogarts probably would leave. And if he does leave, you just shift Story over. Now you have a opening at second base, which you could fill with, I guess, Christian Arroyo. I guess, yeah, Christian Arroyo, because Mayer was it Marcelo Mayer, the top prospect that they have. He's not ready yet, and he's a shortstop. But I'm sure he could shift over to second base pretty easily. So until he's ready, you can't really factor him in. So does Bloom sign a second baseman and leave Arroyo as your kind of utility infielder where he could fill in shortstop or third or first or second? Um, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the next couple of weeks. I still think that Bloom needs to get a starting pitcher. I think the bullpen is fine right now, but the starting pitching could use a top of the rotation guy. So does he trade for? I've seen rumors about like Bieber or was it Corbin Burns might be available. Does he now have to go full court press into one of those guys? Does he try to go Michael Waka, who was their best pitcher last season, still a free agent? Uh, Evaldi's still a free agent. At least with Evaldi, you know, you're gonna get innings out of him. I think his velocity was a little bit down last season, so that might be what's scaring teams off. But Walker had a resurgent year, so do you go for that? Stick him near the top of the rotation. Cross your fingers again with Chris Sale that he can make it through a season. So, a lot of questions with the Red Sox still. All in all, I'll say the winter meetings would be maybe B minus grade. If he had re-signed Bogaerts, it probably would be A. I'm not gonna really drop it below B because, like I said, the moves that he did make for the bullpen and all that, I feel like those are quality moves. I'd say B minus on the high end. Maybe it's a C grade. I can give him a C grade. But you let me know what you think down in the comment section. Are you bummed out by Bogaerts not being a Red Sox player anymore? Do you think they were right in letting him go to the Padres? Let me know that as well. And what do you think Bloom's next move should be? Some of you might say out the door. Hey, it's your opinion. Drop it down in the comment section and we can interact. So, all in all, like I said, I think Bloom, there were some positives from this. Bogarts is just going to be the negative that gets the most attention, unfortunately. That's the way business and baseball works. So, yeah. So, just to remind you guys, you can check me out tonight. I will be on Sports Empire Network for 7 o'clock pre-gaming pigskin. So check us out: Facebook, YouTube, and TikiLive.com. Just look up Sports Empire Network, and I'm on there live tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you already know what to do. All that. Like, subscribe, share. Really help me out. And as I always say, be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right. Enjoy your day.